Hey everybody, welcome back to Sisters at the Cinema. This is Amanda,
And this is Valerie.
and today we are talking about the 2021 Netflix hit, or at least I'm going to call it a hit.
It should be
The
a hit.
right, The Harder They Fall.
Yes. So, this is a movie that we wanted to do for Black History Month because we rarely hear stories about black cowboys.
Uh-huh.
And if you know, like I know, the word cowboy came from slaves and or workers that were black, and they called them boy, and they work with cows. They
Hmm.
shouldn't know that,
The
but
more you
now,
know.
and now they don't even talk about them. It's like it never existed.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's crazy.
They took it over. They the cowboys now.
Ooh,
So, yeah. So we thought this would be great for Black History Month, even though it's not a true depiction necessarily, but it's based on real characters.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's dive on in with a quick synopsis first. Look at our all-star cast.
Hmm.
According to IMDb, The Harder to Fall is about an outlaw who discovers that his enemy is being released from prison. He then reunites his gang to seek revenge.
Hmm.
Dun dun dun. We have Jonathan Majors
Yep. Awesome.
as Nat Love.
They're gonna have to let Jonathan come back now.
I
Let it
hope
go.
so. I hope so. Then we have Idris Elba as Rufus Buck,
Yes.
Zazie Beetz as Stagecoach Mary,
Hmm.
Regina King as Trudy, Lakeith
Oh.
Stanfield as Cherokee Bill.
Hmm.
I gotta start talking a little faster. We got Danielle Deadweiler as Cuffy. We got a lot of
Yeah,
names.
it's true.
Delroy Lindo, who we saw in
This Christmas.
yes, he plays Bass Reeves.
Yep.
And let's see. Damon Wayans Jr. has a bit of a role here.
Hmm.
And who else?
I wish I knew the guy's name that plays Jim because he's great.
Oh yeah, RJ Seiler,
Okay.
maybe?
Yeah, I think that's right because I
And
looked him
then
up.
yep, and then Eddie or Edie Gathegi. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correct, but he played Bill Pickett.
Oh, okay. And he's from
Yep.
Twilight, right?
He's that's funny you mentioned that because I actually recently watched Twilight, and I'm
Hmm.
not ashamed to say that. Um, I
Don't be
just needed
ashamed,
something.
girl.
I just needed something on in the background, and I said, "Let me put Twilight on." And
Yeah.
I saw him, and I thought, he was just on a show on Netflix. Do you remember that show that he
But
was
he,
on? It's set in Miami,
oh, yeah,
and
I love that show.
it was good. And
Yep.
so I was like, okay, he been around for a while. He been
Yeah.
was in Twilight, and now he, um, you know, has moved
Right.
on to bigger and better.
Right. I mean, Twilight is good stuff now. You
It
know, so
was, it was.
yeah, I
Um,
enjoy Twilight.
yeah. So
The
yeah.
second, oh, never
No, go
mind.
ahead.
I was like, except for the second one. I think it was the second. No, I enjoyed all the Twilights. You know, there was just some scenes. I remember when her being depressed in the room or whatever, and I was
Yeah,
like,
that
okay.
was the second one.
But I thought, okay, yeah. I was like, okay, I can do without all this.
Yep.
But
I got one more name I wanted to throw out. We got Dion Cole as White.
yes. Tell you something. Deion Cole acting his butt off. Okay.
Ain't
Yes. He doing the dang thing.
he? He really is. If y'all haven't seen his show on BET,
Yes.
what's it called? Something about Joe. Average Joe,
Average
maybe?
Joe.
Y'all
Yes.
need to check that out. It's good.
Okay. It's so
Real good.
good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a second season has come out yet, but that's a great show. And it just made me think of it when I saw him in this. Like, I don't know if this is the first role we saw him in as far as drama,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but I was like, hey, he
he
was
did
good in
that.
this. Yeah, he was so good.
Yep. Yep.
I do want to go back to what's the guy? RJ? Was that his name?
Uh-huh.
I kept looking at him like I know him from something. I had to look him up. Did you
Okay.
recognize him? Oh, you might not have watched it.
Mm, nope.
The Book of Clarence.
Oh, I didn't finish it.
Okay. The Book of Clarence. I was like, I know him. And you know what's also crazy is in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
there's a part where he says the Book of Clarence.
Oh, exactly.
And I
I
was
noticed
like,
that.
is
Yep.
that are these movies related? I mean, is it the same director, writer, something? I meant to look into
Right.
that, but anyway,
Yep. I'm glad you mentioned that because I noticed that as well. And I thought,
yeah,
well, Lakeith Stanfield is
yes,
also in the Book of Clarence.
right.
And so I did wonder too if there was some kind of a connection.
I think it's gotta be. I gotta look into it if I remember.
Hmm. Okay. Are you ready to get into this recap?
Yes, ready.
Go and kick us off.
All right, so the movie starts, and like I was saying, there's a caption that reads, "The events are fictional, but these people existed."
Mm-hmm.
So we see a family in a little house on the prairie. And they're sitting down for dinner. And the father, he says grace, and there's a knock at the door.
Mm.
Dad went and answers the door, and he sees a guy, and he just says no
Right.
with a frightened and shocked look upon his face.
Yep.
The dude comes in and he lays these golden guns down on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad's like, leave my family out of this.
Right.
And dude ain't paying him no mind. Because he picked them guns up. He point one at mom, one at the boy. And
Mm-hmm.
Dad is like, it's going to be okay. Is it? And he proceeds to kill mom and then shot the dad. Killed them both.
Mm. Kill them both.
Then went to the boy and carved something onto his forehead. So next then, after that scene, it just says Salinas, Texas, sometime later.
Yep. And we see a man walk into a small church where there's another man kneeling in prayer. And the guy who walks in starts speaking in Spanish.
Hmm.
And he's like, I'm here for confession and the collection.
Yes.
And he says, you know what happens when you're late with my coins.
Yes, he did.
So
Talking
he up
to
talking to a priest
who?
up
Yeah,
in here. Right. He
who
up
he
in
thinks is
here,
the priest.
right.
Uh huh.
In the church, in the house of God. So
Yeah.
the man that's kneeling at the front of the church gets up and turns around. And this visitor is like, oh, he's kind of, shocked. This ain't who
hmm
he expected it to be.
Right. He like, who are you?
Uh huh.
And
And
he gives
so,
us. Go ahead.
and so the man at the front of the church, he says, what possesses a man to paint a scorpion on his hand?
Mm,
I don't know if you realize at this point, but in our opening scene,
mm-hmm.
one of the men put his hands on the shoulder of the little boy,
Yeah. I
and
didn't realize it.
and there was a scorpion tattooed on his hand.
Mm-hmm. See, so he done gave himself away, leaving clues.
Exactly. You can't have marks like that.
No, you cannot. And not leaving people alive.
Exactly.
You gotta take everybody out.
Exactly. And so the man in the church says, I'm here to kill said man.
Hmm.
Jesus? Or did he call him Jesus? I think he called him
I don't
Jesus.
remember him saying the name at all. That's funny.
He said, Jesus Cortez.
Okay, okay. Dude was like, look, that was a long time ago. Like, who cares?
And he gonna try to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Come on now. You
My
already know what's
parents,
up. My
yep,
parents.
in my face.
Mm,
Just lead me to my own devices. I'm 10 years old.
right.
Okay.
And so they both reach for their guns. And the man in front of the church is quicker. And
Hmm.
so he starts shooting the scorpion.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call him.
Okay.
And with every shot, we see a word from the title flash across the screen.
Hmm. I don't think I paid that any mind.
Oh, really? Yep.
Yeah.
And so it just so happens that in the also inside the church is the
Mhm.
true priest.
Right. He back there hiding. He duck down. He get up.
Saw it all.
Okay. He gets up when dude finished shooting.
The killer tells him, go and take this body and collect the $5,000 bounty.
Right. And the pastor like, why don't you take it? You can collect. And he said, well, I'm worth 10,000.
Right. And then we cut to the opening credits.
Yep.
And so one
Oh,
thing, oh, go ahead.
I just want to mention that while they in the church before he shoots the guy, he takes off his hat and we can see this cross that's carved into his head.
Right.
And so, yeah, when the dude saw that, he was freaking out because I think that's when
Yeah.
he knew who he was.
Right. So in these opening credits, did you notice it said it was produced by Sean Carter?
I did.
Is that who we know as Sean Carter?
I would think it probably is. You
Hmm,
know, I would have to look into it, but probably so.
I heard that.
Yeah, he probably got his hands on some stuff.
Right. Okay.
Hmm. So next we see these masked men on horseback, and they riding, and then you see some guys in the mountains like watching them, and then they start shooting them, taking them down
Hmm.
one by one. And one of the guys says it's the Nat Love gang.
One of the guys that was riding on the horse.
Yes, right.
Yep.
Oh, so this is after they done shot everybody up. They done killed most of them. It's like a couple left, and one of the guys is talking to the Hood gang, and he's like, "I remember y'all used to be the Crimson Hood gang, but now you look pink." That was so funny to me. They got on them pink hoods, but they the Crimson Hood gang.
Yeah.
But yeah, the guy he's talking to, you could tell they grew up together by stuff. They're talking about his mama and all of that, but dude didn't care because he shot him dead. You didn't catch
Hmm.
that?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Oh, okay, okay.
So one of Nat's gang, we now know his name is Jim,
Yeah.
and there's one last Crimson Hood gang member that's still alive.
Hmm. So the guy that was up in the hill shooting, he comes down, and
Hmm.
when he's talking to Jim, we find out his name is, and
Hmm.
he talking about being the fastest shooter or whatever.
Hmm.
And the guy says, "I hear there's another guy that's faster than you, Cherokee Bill." And
Hmm.
Jim says, "You hear say, you don't see say." Jim
Jim
was
is
funny
great.
to me.
Yep. Jim is great.
Yeah.
And so while they're arguing about Cherokee Bill, one of the Crimson Hood gang tries to reach for his gun, and Jim once again shows how quick he is and
And
takes him out.
no, he don't take him
Or
out.
just shoots him. Does he
He don't
shoot him?
shoot him either.
Oh.
Wait, are we talking about? We talking about what's his name? The Wayne Scott? or the other guy? No, it got to be the Wayans guy. Yeah,
It
he been
must be
shooting
the Wayans. This is yeah, Damon's Damon's.
him.
Damon Wayans is one of the Crimson Head.
Right. No, he didn't shoot him. He just stopped him from shooting them.
Mm, okay, yeah, because he quicker than quick.
Right. Yeah, he might have shot the gun out of his hand. But that guy, the Crimson Hood, he's saying y'all gonna be in trouble for stealing that money.
He said, "Y'all
And
don't know who you messing with."
yes. And they like, you rob banks and we rob you. And
And
he's
he
like,
started cracking up.
like y'all didn't steal from no bank.
Mm.
Like,
Uh-oh,
yeah.
we in trouble.
So next we see a guy on horseback, and it says they're in Douglastown.
Right.
So all these little western looking towns, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody looking at him as he rides through, and he pulls up to Stagecoach Mary's saloon.
Right. And this is Jonathan Majors.
Yes, and when he gets in, the guy at the door is like, you gotta leave your gun at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And so, he doesn't have a problem with that, being Mary's rules or whatever. And the guy is like, well, because I think he mentioned something about him being small. And he says, well, they put me at the door because, people won't be intimidated by me. So next, some other dudes come in, and they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
leave their guns at the door
Right.
and start a fight. And, they
Mm-hmm.
big, tall dudes. Little dude took them out real quick.
Real quick.
And we find out his name is Cuffy.
And so then we see Stagecoach Mary.
Mm-hmm.
She walks in with her gun
Right.
and she is beating it on the ground, basically creating a beat.
Yep.
And she starts singing her own little song
She said, let the
to
beat
her
drop.
own little beat. Right. And Jonathan is just, or I should say, Nat Love
Yeah.
is just mesmerized, staring
Mm-hmm.
at her while she's singing.
Yeah.
Then she ends up staring back at him.
Mm-hmm.
And when she finishes her song, she walks over and kisses him.
Yeah.
And then immediately tells him to get out.
Right. We're like, oh, they're a couple. Oh, really? Enough.
Right.
And she's like,
Yep.
mm-mm. And then she sucker punched him.
Right. And she said the kiss was to remind you what it was. And then she knocks him out and says that is to remind you what it is. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
you better go and tell him, girl.
Okay. She said things have changed.
Right.
And she's still telling him, he got to go. But she
Mhm.
she kind of leaves, and then Cuffy tells
Mhm.
him, go on upstairs.
Right. Second door on the left.
Right. Like, wait a minute, Mary said he gotta get out.
Right. So he goes up to Mary's room and he tells her he found the last man that he was looking for.
Because he was trying to sweet talk her, you
Right. He
know?
tells her she's the only thing that
Mm-hmm.
means anything
Yeah.
to him in the world right now.
And she don't believe him.
And she don't believe him. Because she like, what about Rufus Buck?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, she's
he's like, Rufus is in Yuma, which apparently is a jail, uh,
right.
or a city where a jail is,
Mm-hmm.
prison. And so he's like, Rufus is in Yuma for the rest of his life, and he
Mm-hmm.
ain't an issue no more.
Right.
Hmm.
So she give in a little bit. And they
Right.
start making out
Right.
and getting hot and heavy in there till somebody knocks on the door. And in walks Bill Pickett.
Oh, Bill Pickett.
Right. And that is like, you got the worst timing in the world.
Yep. And Bill said, y'all was making sex.
Yeah,
I apologize.
that was so funny.
It was.
He said, but what I got to show you can't wait.
And
So,
so one thing that I'm
go ahead.
surprised you didn't mention
Oh, you got something that I don't
is that Jonathan Majors is the guy from the church who killed the scorpion. Did
have?
we say? Did we
Oh, okay.
mention that? I just want to
No,
make sure we
I think
mention
you're
that
right. No,
specifically.
you're right.
Jonathan Majors killed the scorpion,
Hmm.
and so now we know he killed one of the men that killed his parent, or that was there when his parents were killed.
Right. That's
So
who he's telling Mary that he got. You
exactly,
know. Yeah.
exactly. So
Hmm.
anyway,
So it was the scorpion and Rufus that were there when his parents got killed.
right, yep,
Scorpion didn't pull the trigger, but you're guilty by
right,
association.
exactly, yep.
Hmm.
I don't know why y'all want to live this life of
Okay.
crime.
Not me either. I don't get it.
So anyway, Bill takes them downstairs or to a barn where they've got Damon Wayans Jr., one of the Crimson Hood gang members, tied up. And Nat starts questioning him. Crimson Hood, he spilled all them beans.
All of it. But he
He
ain't
ain't
scared of
about to
you. Mm-mm. Even though he tied up all of that, he not scared. At least
fight.
he don't act like it. So
Well,
he tells them that Rufus is getting out of jail, and the half of that money they stole was his.
mm-hmm.
And that, he having a hard time believing this because he knows Rufus is supposed to be going to jail for life. But he
Right, he
also
knows.
was like, why would this dude lie? You
Right.
know? And
Yep.
so he let him go.
Yep.
So next we see a group riding on horses, and one of the riders stops on. There's a train coming, and one of the riders stops on the train tracks. The train, it has to stop. They don't have a choice
I mean, it don't
because,
have to stop, is what I thought.
well, my thought is, it hitting that horse could derail it, and so you got all
Mm,
these. This is a passenger train, and yourself, your own safety. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's true. I
So
guess I ain't think of it that way. So I was just
that's what I
one
thought.
horse.
Right? You just never know,
Mm,
though. It could derail the train, cause a big accident,
yeah,
and you don't necessarily know why that person is sitting on the tracks.
yeah,
Because I
that's
think if you
true.
thought, oh, they bad guys or they're gonna rob the train or whatever, then maybe
Yeah,
you would just risk it.
yep,
So
yep. So that truck or that train stopped within mere feet of this woman on her horse.
I was shocked the horse didn't run off.
That's a good point.
That, I was like, they got
That's a
these
good point.
horses well trained because they
Hmm.
animals no danger too. You know.
That's true. Yeah, that big old train.
Hmm.
And so the conductor hops off the train and he is upset.
Yep.
And he get off and he got an attitude and he start talking to her and he about to say the N word.
Uh-huh.
He get that out
That's all he got out.
and he got a bullet through the head.
He sure did. And the dude with
Hmm.
her was like, he could have been about to say nincompoop.
Right. And she said, "We ain't no nincompoop either."
Oh.
And so we find out that this man is Cherokee Bill,
Yeah.
and they are on this train, we think, to rob the
Right.
train.
Yeah.
There's a man on the train that thinks he's a hero,
Got that right. Thanks.
and Cherokee Bill cut him down in like 2 seconds.
He sliced him up so good. Like, dude thought, we thought he gonna shoot him or something.
Uh huh. And Bill even said, "Oh, you're the hero."
Yeah. And so what does that do? That deters anybody else from trying to be the hero, you know?
Exactly. Yep.
Hmm.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
so there's also a boy soldier on the train
Yeah.
who has a gun, but his hand is clearly shaking.
Yeah. He ain't got what
So
it takes.
he ain't got what it takes. And so Bill and the gang that is with him They threaten to kill everybody if this boy doesn't put his gun down.
Mm-hmm.
And they ask the boy, if you were on this train, how
Yep.
many other soldiers y'all got on this train?
Yeah.
And at first he says something like
30.
35 or
Yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And Bill was like, tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, okay, 10.
Yeah.
And
But I
so,
will say,
mhm,
wasn't it more than
I don't know. I ain't count 'em.
10? I didn't, but looking back, I feel like it seemed like more than that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he was guessing too. He's like, I ain't counting either.
Right. So they go back to the compartment where the supposed 10 soldiers are. And they like, y'all got 5 seconds to open this door
Mm-hmm.
or we gonna shoot this kid.
Yeah.
And they like, if y'all shoot through the door, just know the kid is gonna be the first one you get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, these soldiers are kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. But
And
one of
so,
them come up talking, he's in charge, I guess, and
hmm
he's talking big and bad. Talking
talking
about,
big and bad.
let the boy go, you criminal. What's your name? And
Mm.
Cherokee said, I'm not a criminal, but my name is Cherokee Bill. I thought that was hilarious too, because how you not a criminal? You robbing the train. Are you on there? You shooting people, cutting people down, all of this? Sir, that is criminal activity.
Right. And so, while they're trying to get them to open this door and he doing his little countdown,
Mm-hmm.
the woman in the gang, who we find out her name is Trudy,
Yep.
this is our beloved Regina King,
Beloved.
she shoots the boy.
Mm-hmm.
She like, we ain't got time for all this.
Yep. It wasn't like a life threatening. Well, it could be back
Right.
in them days. but,
True. Any shot back then is life threatening.
but she got him like in the leg or something.
Yep.
And he says, Paul.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's suicide.
That's tragic.
Yep. So,
Your daddy let you get shot not
uh-huh.
once but twice. She
Two
shot him twice.
times. Yes, she did. She ain't playing. But that's what Cherokee Bill like. She ain't got the patience I got.
Right. And so they finally open the door and the gang enters the room or the train car with the soldiers.
Right.
And there is a big old
Metal box.
yeah.
You know what it made me think of? The
What?
Blacklist. When he be in that glass box in the room.
That's
Oh.
so funny. Yeah, this one was not glass though.
Mm-mm.
So we can't see what's inside it.
Right.
And she's like, you got the key? Open it.
Mm-hmm.
And he like, I ain't gotta do what you say.
He said, I don't have the key.
Right.
And they
And
shoot one of them soldiers dead.
right.
You sure?
Exactly. And so turns out she's like, we have a full pardon
Mm-hmm.
for Rufus Buck and all of his what is the word that they use?
Oh, I don't know. Just like indiscretions or something. I don't know the word they use though.
Yes, but also for all the people that are associated with him. Like
Oh, okay, okay.
it's
That
not just
I missed that then.
oh, okay. It's not just for Rufus.
No, it's for the
It's for
whole
the
gang.
whole gang.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And so she reads the pardon and she's like, in order to receive the pardon, we gotta kill all of y'all.
And right, most importantly, you because you general because
mm-hmm.
you've been up to some dirt. You done did some dirty deeds involving
Mm-hmm.
women and children,
Mm-hmm.
like killed a town or something.
Right. Yep.
And so that's part of the deal to take you out. The governor done made a deal with these criminals. Well,
Ain't that crazy?
yes, Cherokee Bill said they're not criminals, but uh, in order to get their guy free.
mm-hmm. And so they open it up and they let Rufus out.
Hmm.
And when I tell you they try to make Rufus look like some big giant of a man,
Well, he might be a big giant of a man. I don't know. Hey, Idris.
this is true. Idris Elba with his fine self
Hmm.
walked right on out that box
Yeah.
in chains.
And they drop them
And
chains. They sound heavy. Like, whew.
they have to be for that
Yeah.
big old man. He's so silly.
So soon as he get out, they shoot that general. And Rufus asks, "Who here can drive a train?"
Yep.
And the son raises his hand.
Yep.
And Rufus is like, "Well, kill everybody else."
Yep.
And kill they do. They get right to it.
They got right to it. And one thing you also didn't mention,
What's
no.
that?
Um, I just thought the way that Rufus came out of the box
Yeah,
and he did this head, like he put his head on
Trudy.
Trudy, and then he kind of did the same thing to Cherokee Bill, and it
Yeah,
kind of just showed like their familial relationship
yeah,
and
like a
how close
family.
they are. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
so I
true.
thought that was sweet. Like this
Okay.
big heart man.
Oh, sweet. As they murder everybody.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying. They showing us two different sides of these people.
Yeah.
That kind of
Okay,
make
that's a good
you,
point.
yeah. And I think it goes the same for both gangs,
That's
right?
true.
They
But that's
both,
always the way. I mean, most, unless they're just cuckoo crazy,
yeah,
most criminals, like, when you see one of their people go down, they
yeah,
go crazy. I'm like, but
yeah.
you just took out their whole family, but now you mad about your
Right.
dude? Yeah,
Yep.
they be serious about their folk.
Yep. And so I just wanted to highlight that moment because Rufus does have a soft spot,
Right.
even though he killed all them people.
Okay. And walked out of there with them bullets flying, like nothing
Right.
was going on.
Yep. And so when the train leaves, we see him and his gang watching them go.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna be on the train,
I
but
thought
no.
so too.
Yeah, they
Yep.
just sent them off wherever.
Right, because they got a full pardon.
Yeah,
So they know they good.
right.
So they just said, y'all can get on out of here and go on to safety. And we going to do what we need to do.
Good thing.
Yep. So back at the saloon, we see Delroy Lindo show up as Bass Reeves.
Yeah.
And just like everybody else, he's asked to be relieved of his weapon.
Mhm.
But he refuses.
Yeah. He said, my badge begs to differ. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do what you asking me to.
Mm-hmm. And he says, I'm looking for Nat Love.
Yeah, and when he gets over to him, he like reaches in his jacket to get
Mm-hmm.
something, and they pull their guns on him like he is not an officer of the law.
Right.
I was like, oh, they don't care. They'll
Mm-mm.
take you out too.
He tells Nat that Rufus was pardoned. And so they had just a little bit of a conversation, right? What were they talking about?
Well, he asked them about the robbery on the Crimson Gang.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like, oh, I was in Texas. And he like, I didn't tell you where it happened at. And so they talking about that. And that's pretty much the conversation. It's just about, Rufus getting out and the robbery. And then
Yeah.
he arrests Nat.
Well, Nat threw his drink in his face.
Well, I think he
And,
was there to arrest him anyway. He already
well,
wanted.
that's true, but for optics, right?
Oh, so okay. So you're saying that you think he had cause to arrest him because he threw that drink in the face? He threw the
Yes.
drink so everybody could see, and then him get
Yes.
arrested.
Exactly.
Okay, see, I didn't think that, but That makes sense. But I'm thinking, he just said he got a $10,000 warrant or whatever for his arrest. So I'm thinking he could be arrested at any time.
Yeah, that's true, but why even start a conversation? Why not just walk in and arrest him?
Cause
You know what I mean?
he cool. He got to make a, whole big thing. And I'm the marshal. Watch me work. Let me cook.
Right. And so when he's arresting Nat, he basically tells, everybody who's looking where
Mm-hmm.
he's taking them. And
Hmm.
he's basically like, don't even try it.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to rescue this man.
Mm-hmm. Don't follow us. Blah blah blah.
Cause, right, because I'm going to get with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounds like Bass Reeves is not to be messed with either.
No. And I didn't realize, like, this movie came out in 21, right?
Yep.
And so there's a show that came out last year called
Mhm.
Bass Reeves.
Yep.
Now, when this show came out, I would have told you I had never heard of Bass Reeves.
Yeah.
I didn't put it together that he was in this movie,
Yep.
And
Yep.
so if you've seen any of that show, you'll know the Bass Reeves don't play. And you see that in the movie too, but you see it later. You don't know that right now.
And I didn't watch the show.
It's good.
So,
We didn't finish it, but it's a good show.
oh, okay. Because Bass Reeves is, like the opening said, while the events of this story are fictional, these people existed. Bass Reeves is a real person.
All of these people are. Well,
Right.
all of the big names. Cherokee Bill and Nat Love,
Right.
Rufus. Yeah.
So, yeah, Bass Reeves was not to be messed with.
Yeah. So now we're back with the other gang in Redwood City. They always make sure to
Right.
tell us the
They tell
cities.
us the cities, but not the states, because,
Oh, that's
oh,
true.
except for the one that said Salinas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think of redwood, I think of redwood trees in California.
Oh.
And so I'm like, are they in California? Are they in Texas? Where are they? They could be
Hmm.
anywhere out
That's true.
west.
That's true.
From Texas to California, essentially.
Right. Who
But
knows?
yeah, I wish they would tell us in what state they were
Yeah,
in as well.
that's a good
But
point.
I will say that whatever time in history this is, there also may not have been states. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Wow.
Um,
Now see,
but
I'm...
still, put in parentheses, modern day California or something.
right. Man, you made me think. Then I'm thinking they had to be states. I'm thinking, where the states? See, now y'all telling on us. Now I gotta study. I feel like I should know that. Be able to say,
Yeah.
well, Westerns came after the states was formed in this year. We don't know that.
Right.
Okay. But back in Redwood City, they go into what I think is a bank. Is that what you got from
I assumed as much.
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Yep.
they're talking to that guy about the money
Mhm.
that the Crimson Hood gang stole.
Yep.
And he said, yeah, they got $25,000 from the bank, but then they were ambushed.
Yep.
And Trudy is like, who would ambush us? Anybody should know that's suicide.
Mhm.
They didn't know.
Right. And they mentioned that they're trying to build a compound, but
Hmm.
they don't got the money. And
Right.
now they still don't got the money.
Hmm. Yep, that was how they were getting it. So,
Mhm. On the other side of town, which is really like 20 feet away,
I was like,
Dion Cole is Wiley, and he's sitting at a desk or a table eating
mm-hmm,
some steak.
mm-hmm.
And he is like talking all big and bad to Rufus, and
Yep.
he like, I ain't gotta take yo, and You,
Hmm.
I run
Right.
this, and that. And then the camera zooms out and we see that he in there by himself.
By himself. He talking to himself, trying to build himself up. Okay.
Right, he
He
practicing his
practicing.
speech.
He know Rufus and got out, so he know Rufus gonna be there at some point.
Hmm.
He had to
Yep,
practice.
yep. So he trying to get ready, trying to toughen
Okay.
himself up.
Exactly.
Yep. And so it turns out he's the sheriff
Yep.
uh, in town.
Hmm.
And his deputies walk in and tell him that Rufus wants to speak to him.
Girl.
And you can clearly see whose side they on because they immediately were like, "Hey, you ain't got a choice."
They pulled their guns up. Said this is not a request. I said, dang, he turned your own dudes against you. But like you
Just like
said, they might have already worked for him anyway. You know.
that's true.
Yeah, he could
Yeah.
have just had them for a time and
Yep.
just didn't realize. They just waiting for Rufus to get out.
Right. That's true. And so Wiley goes outside and meets up with Rufus in the street,
Yeah.
old Western style.
Mm-hmm.
And Rufus accuses Wiley of trying to sell the town while he was in jail.
Mm.
And Wiley is like, man, let's go and get this over with.
Yeah.
Let me give you what you came for.
And sucker punches him.
And he throws the first punch. And I thought, this ain't gonna
See,
go in your
is
favor.
this wise? Is this wise? You see the
Mm-mm.
man, you know his entourage. I think he got, well, I would say, he thinking he the sheriff. But like you
Yeah.
said, the deputies just turned on you. You ain't
Just like,
got no backup.
mm-mm.
And you know this dude's a serious criminal. They just had him in a metal box
Right.
with a bunch of
Yeah.
soldiers transporting him. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah. And so Rufus took that punch like it wasn't nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we had previously seen him strip himself of his weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But in a split second, I think Trudy hands
Yeah.
him a pistol
Yeah.
and he pistol whipped Wiley in them streets.
In them streets. The
And as
sheriff.
many, right, and as many times as he hit that man, I think he should have been dead.
And you have a good point because he hit him so hard, his gold teeth was popping out his mouth. Okay,
All his teeth and
and
blood just
yeah,
splattered.
yeah, because I wouldn't have made it.
Mm-mm. Neither.
I'm a wimp. Don't
Yep.
don't hit me with no. Mm-mm. And so
Mm-mm.
it was funny though when them teeth popped out, people were grabbing them gold teeth. I said, "There's some money right
That's right. It is.
here." Yeah,
But oh, I just thought how embarrassing.
but yeah, Rufus tore him up, and Dion, like we was just saying, he killed this scene. Him on that
Mm-hmm.
ground when
Mm-hmm.
Rufus either threatened to shoot him or hit him again, and
Yeah.
he let out this yell. Like I said, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, he said
he,
leave or die where you lay.
mm,
And he made that sound like a
whew,
wounded animal in the woods.
yes."
It was
He was on some acting. Okay,
right.
so then we go back to the Marshall and that love.
Bass Reeves.
Oh yeah. Wait, no, the Marshall and that love. Oh, are you just saying that's
I'm just
Bass
saying his
Reeves?
name. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. And so we see that they working together
Yep.
because he had Nat in the back of this wagon, cuffed, and he take him off, take him out, take the cuffs off, and
Yep.
next thing we know, Mary and the gang ride up.
Right. But while he's taking the cuffs off, they're having this little conversation, and that is like, I know Rufus is gonna be in Redwood,
Okay.
and you can tell that they are basically talking about bringing Rufus in together,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's when they get interrupted by Mary and Cuffy and Bill and Jim.
Yeah.
So, I feel like at this point we got our Nat Love gang
Right.
and we got our Rufus Buck gang.
Yep.
And then we got the Crimson Hood gang who's kind of like off in the shadows.
Right. And they're kind of part of Rufus's gang, though, like a
Right.
subsidiary.
Yeah.
Of
Subsidiary gang.
Rufus's
Oh, that's right.
gang.
This is when Mary and the other folks walked up. Mary is like, we know that was just a show
Mm-hmm.
at the saloon.
Yep.
We know what y'all doing, and
Mm-hmm.
we not gonna let y'all do it alone.
Right. And
And
Nat is
so,
like, y'all need to leave. This is not your fight.
mm-hmm.
But Bill is like, look, we go together.
Yep.
And, that's not what Nat wants to hear, but what can he do?
Right.
So, but he tells them, he said, there's no coming back from this.
Yeah.
And they like, look, we're a gang, we're going. Look, don't
Right.
tell me. I might go home.
Right.
There ain't no But that's what they do. They criminals. They know that's the life. So,
Right. And you can see in this, scenario that, or in this scene, that they are like a family too.
mm-hmm.
Even
Yep.
though Jim was like, I mean, I'm just coming along to challenge Cherokee Bill. Because Bill keep bringing him up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so we got the Nat Love gang reunited.
Yeah. And so, I don't know who it was, but one of them calls Rufus the devil. And
Mm-hmm.
Bass Reeves is like, he's not the devil. I've seen the devil, and he's white. That
Well,
was funny to me.
I
Uh,
wonder who he was talking about.
right. Because he just said it like it was factual, okay? He said he's
Yep.
white. Okay, let me just say that, Nat asked Jim if he has a death wish, for
Mm-hmm.
coming and trying to fight Cherokee Bill too. Or not fight, but he's just
Mm-hmm.
like, I want to settle this whole speed thing once and for all.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when he says, just like in the Book of Clarence. And
Oh.
I was like, so, but,
So I did look it up real quick.
okay.
Um, and both films were directed by the same person.
See, I knew it
Um,
had to be
yep.
some connection there.
And it says the two films are connected by a reference to the Book of Clarence in The Harder They Fall.
Yeah. I'm glad that I caught that. I feel proud of myself.
Yeah, I caught it too, and I
Yeah.
thought, but I didn't think to. I don't think I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Like I caught it, but I wasn't like, oh. So
Hmm.
yeah.
And I think the fact that the two stars of the Book of Clarence are in this
Hmm.
movie too made it
Right.
like,
Yep.
yeah. So, Mary, she looking at Nat with tears in her eyes, and this is what she was talking about at the bar, at the saloon, is
Hmm.
that he not ready. He not committed. He cannot stay
Hmm.
out these streets. Okay.
Yep.
Because he just told her she was all he cared about. Rufus in jail. But as soon as Rufus is released, he gone again.
Hmm.
He got to go get his revenge. So back in Redwood City, Trudy has her own saloon.
Hmm.
And she asked Rufus why he left all of it to Wiley.
Yep.
And so it was clear she wanted to be in charge.
Right. But he's like, you keep the gangs in line.
Right. She's like, you do a
I
lot.
needed you to be focused on that.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, well, we need to talk to these people
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
So they done rounded up the whole town.
You know what? It just made me wonder though, was Rufus the mayor before he went to jail?
I
If
have no idea. That's a good question.
I was just curious the way she said, yeah, okay. It's just something I was wondering. But
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
have no idea. So they have gathered the whole town outside, and Trudy tells everybody that Wiley sold them out to some white folks. Did she say
Yeah.
that?
I think
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she said white actually, but I would assume
Okay.
so because they got money. The
Yep.
way they've been talking.
Yep. And she says that in order to reverse it, they
Yeah.
have to pay a tax of $50,000
Hmm.
collectively.
Right.
I don't know what year this is,
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
but $50,000
We
back
can't collect
then.
that from my folks right now.
Right. Right. And that's basically what they was like. How y'all gonna
Right.
y'all can grab every cent you can find
In
all
this
up and through
town.
this town.
Yep.
And you gonna barely get what, ten
Ten
thousand?
thousand.
I
Yeah.
think they said.
Hmm.
And so Rufus wasn't having it. The first man that objected caught a
Alyssa.
bullet.
He caught a bullet.
Immediately.
Okay. Because dude was like, I
Immediately.
ain't giving y'all nothing. He like, I'm leaving. Why would I? And so Rufus walked up to him though. And then he said, "What's your name?"
Mm.
And shoot, someone says, "Rest in peace, such and so." I forgot what his name was, but
Mm.
and so now
Right.
the whole town know they got to pay their taxes.
Exactly. Because just like on the train,
Yeah.
um, you ain't no hero.
Mm-mm. Nope. He could have just left quietly. He didn't have to make a big
Yep.
speech. And
Like a
now
thief
look,
in the night. He
he
could
talking
have
about
just
I got
ran
a
off.
family. Uh huh.
Hmm.
Yep. They ain't got no daddy now. No daddy. No husband.
Yep.
And Trudy
So,
said, "And if y'all don't comply, we're gonna burn the town down." I said, "Well,
and y'all. We gonna
right?
burn you and everything you love.
Dang. Yeah. I'm like,
Ouch.
how is that helping you?
Thank you. I said, how is this better
Yeah.
than what
Y'all
happened
just
with
as
being sold? I mean, you sold the town, but at least all my stuff ain't. I mean, it might end up being
yeah, Mike.
right, but still,
Yeah.
you are not a savior in this situation.
Right. Okay, so next we see the former mayor, Wiley, and he's going through the woods and the gang sees him and one of them
Hmm.
stops him. Wiley says that Rufus is trying to save Redwood, but he needs money.
Yep.
So he tells them what happened. Oh, and then we see Jim over there practicing. Well, later, I think
Hmm.
it's later, but practicing,
Yeah.
spinning his guns, swirling his guns around, all of that
Yep.
stuff.
We got all the tricks.
Right. And Bass Reeves says, those tricks are what get you killed.
Mm.
And they talking, and they ask him something. And Bass says, I think y'all gonna die. Like, just point blank. I
Yeah.
said, dang, oh, ye of little faith. He was just
Mm.
like, I think y'all gonna die.
Mm. I mean, Bass probably saying some things.
Oh, I'm sure. So Mary tells Nat that she's gonna go into Redwood by herself to get some
Hmm.
information, and she'll be back by sundown. And he's like, "No, you're not.
Sun up.
Sun up. You're right." And he tries to talk her down, but he can't stop her. She grown.
Right. She grown.
Hmm.
He ends up asking her to marry him,
Yeah,
and
she
she
turned him
didn't
down
say
flat.
no flat out, but she might as well have said just no.
Oh, I feel like she said no.
I mean, no, I'm saying she didn't just say no.
Oh, she didn't say the word
She
no.
right. She says, we going our separate ways after the
Yep.
dust settles.
Even though she still continued to kiss him, it's obvious they in love, right?
Oh yeah.
And I said he must have hurt her real bad because she in love with him, but she don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so I thought, I don't know, Mary. Um,
about
why
going
would
into
you
town.
yeah, why would you go to a town run by people who hate Nat
Yeah,
and probably know that you and Nat are lovers or have been
So,
lovers.
right. She thinks that she's smart. She is smart. But
Yeah,
she
she
doesn't think they're smart. That's what I think. I think she thinks she's smarter than them
right
because she goes into town
with a
and
business plan
what was
or
that?
with a business plan.
Exactly. So she's thinking because of who I am,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can, fool them.
Right.
And so when she gets to the city, Trudy comes out, and they know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And she says she has an offer for Rufus. And Trudy is like, "Oh, you can tell me." And Mary says, "I don't do business with the help." I said, "Well, doggone."
Right.
So she gets to Rufus and she says she heard they lost $25,000.
Mm-hmm.
And they looking at each other like, how she know that? But she also, tries to say, I know who I used to be with, like,
Mm-hmm.
we're not together anymore,
Right.
they're not falling for it. But she
Mm-hmm.
says she wants to buy Trudy's salon.
Mm-hmm. And
And
give them her saloons in exchange.
is that right?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't
She
hear that.
offers her saloon and a couple of other businesses that she has in
Oh,
exchange for this saloon.
I thought she was just noting all the ones she had. I could be wrong. And that she was trying to buy another one. I could be wrong.
Mm-mm.
But either way, they're not impressed. And the
Right.
next thing you know, she gets the butt of a gun to the head.
Knocked out. And so she does not make it back by
No,
morning
she does
like she
not.
said she would.
Hmm.
She is being questioned by Trudy.
And before it, like Trudy says, uh, she must not have seen whose name was on the door. And I did think that was crazy. It's Trudy's saloon. But she
Hmm.
asked Rufus if she can buy it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I think
Yep.
that's what Rudy was saying. Like, Rudy, Trudy, how
Yeah.
she just gonna bypass me and
Right.
ask him
You
about
know who
my
really
saloon?
in charge?
True, but still, Trudy is
Uh,
like, because that's another part when somebody called him her boss or something. She's like, mm-mm,
right. And so come morning, Mary is being questioned by Trudy.
yeah,
Trudy ends up telling her this long story about
yeah.
her having a sister named Mary as well.
Because Mary tells her love is the only thing worth dying for, and you wouldn't know anything about that. And so that's
Yep.
why Trudy goes into this story.
Right. So in this story, Trudy has a sister who has some kind of, is it polio or
Maybe so.
some kind of debilitating disease, and some girl been bullying her.
Yeah.
Long story short, Trudy killed the bully.
Trudy, you can't mess with everybody. I say that
You
all the time.
can't.
You don't know who you messing with.
Oh, you can't.
So you just hit her in the head with an apple and she fell down the stairs and she took you out.
Took her clean out.
Because her daddy beat her for letting her little sister get hurt.
Yep.
And Trudy was like, okay, I got
Yeah,
something for her.
her daddy went to go beat the other girl who threw the apple at her sister
Yep.
and found her dead.
And a pool of blood.
And so he sent Trudy away.
Because he knew.
He knew.
He said, my child.
Yep.
My
He knew.
child done killed. Listen, I understand, how it is when you get in trouble for your little sibling. I know
I don't know
about it.
what you're talking about.
But I do. Me and Trudy know. The older they're responsible for the younger.
Nope.
But
Anyway,
Trudy, you didn't have to take her out. That was
right.
extreme. But she
Hmm.
loved her sister was the point.
Right. And Mary heard the story and was not moved.
She was not.
And so she still won't talk. And
Mm-mm.
so Trudy called in the big guns
Yep.
and had Mary strangled.
Yep.
Yeah.
kicking it on.
feet kicking and all. But she said, "We're not gonna kill you yet."
hmm
And
And
so
so,
they throw her out the door, basically, into the middle of the street.
uh huh. She said, let everybody see her.
Mm-hmm.
And if nobody comes to pick her up by sunup, kill her.
Yep.
And
And here comes Nat.
yep, they didn't have to wait long at all.
Right.
Nat come to get his woman.
Exactly. And he doesn't show it, but you can. He showed it in that way men do.
The way he was looking at her.
Uh huh.
Yes. I love it. It was great.
Yep. Yep. Nat got a big old bone to pick
Oh, yeah.
uh, with the Rufus Buck gang.
hmm And Trudy, she sees Bass Reeves with them. And she's like, well, if I knew you were switching sides, I would have asked you to come with us. But that does say something about Rufus, and we don't know what he's done. But it
Mm,
must be a lot because, from all we know, Nat and them have done a lot too. But he's willing to join forces with them to get Rufus. So Rufus had to
right.
be real
Right.
trouble.
But we do know for a fact that Rufus has killed people.
Oh, I'm sure Nat has too. He
I
killing people
guess
too
so.
easy. The scorpion, and you know that probably
That's
ain't the
true.
only person he ever killed. He did it too easy.
Yeah, but Rufus been doing it for a lot longer.
Well, that's true. He's older. He's
Yeah,
older. So I give you that.
right. He been doing it since Nat was a kid, at least.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So he probably got a lot more charges up against him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And so Trudy asks Nat if he's come to save his damsel in distress. You didn't like that line? I thought it was good.
Nope.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
and Trudy says, well, your man gotta go, but you can stay. So then here comes Jim talking to Cherokee Bill, and he wants to have a duel. But Cherokee is not about that life. He is not interested in having a shootout at all. So he go back
Mm-mm.
inside. And Jim is too
Yep.
bad. He's like, I've been practiced on this speech, and he don't want to have a duel.
All right.
And so Nat, they got him tied up, and they're beating him like a punching bag.
They
And
tearing him
Mary's,
up. His skin all red and
yeah,
and Mary sitting over there in the corner watching.
yeah, they got her in the
Mm.
cell. She don't have no choice.
Right. And so they leave them alone for a minute. And he asks Mary if they beat her bad.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even respond. And he says, I'm going to kill them all.
hmm
And so then we hear some footsteps and some whistling. And here comes Rufus Buck. And he starts telling. Why does the Rufus Buck gang like to tell these stories?
I don't know. He quoting Napoleon. I was like,
Right,
oh boy.
right.
Which
He
is funny
quotes
because,
Napoleon, and I'm just like, get on with it.
right. It's funny because the only one who doesn't is like Cherokee Bill. Because he's like, ooh, he always like, ooh, why you gotta talk so much? Oh, you talk,
Yep,
you know?
yep.
He ain't about that. He's just gonna get to it.
Right. And so after his little story about Napoleon, he cuts Nat down.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, do you know why I gave you that scar? He said, so I'd know your face when I saw you again.
Mm-hmm.
I said, that makes sense.
It does. So you can know your enemies. So
Right.
when he cut him down, the ring falls out his pocket or wherever he had it, and Rufus takes it.
Mm-hmm.
So Rufus says they're gonna have to bring him some money, to replace what they stole,
Yep.
and with $10,000 in interest.
Right.
So he tells them they gotta rob a bank in order to
Yep.
do it.
And be done and have me my money by Friday at noon.
Mm-hmm.
Do we even know what day it is?
I don't.
Okay. Well, Friday, I'm assuming it's in that same week,
Yeah, I would too.
and he probably gave them just a couple of days
Right. Bring me
and
my
told
money.
them right, and so they have to rob a bank that turns out to be an all white town
Hmm. It's all
nearby.
white for real.
Right, all
You picked
white
that
for
too?
real, painted white.
White,
The
white.
dirt is white.
Everything
The
white.
people are white.
Right.
Yep.
I was like, oh, okay. They're serious about this white town.
Right.
But, when they're getting ready to go, they're talking about how all of them can be recognized for the most part.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
so Nat has the idea and pulls out this dress and
Mhm.
gives it to Cuffy.
Yep.
And he looking like, And so he said, for Mary.
Yep.
And then he starts stripping down.
Yep.
And that's when Jim and I guess other guys realize Cuffy is a woman.
Which is funny because I thought this whole time I was, and maybe it's because I've seen this before,
Yeah.
that I didn't even realize necessarily that they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I
Yeah.
just thought this was confirmation.
Okay. Mm-mm. Yeah, they didn't know. I guess Jim knew. However, he might have just figured it out.
Yeah.
But no, I mean not Jim. Nat. Nat figured it out. But yeah,
Right.
Jim didn't know because he says, "Ooh, I thought I was. I had a crush on a man. I was falling for a man."
Right. And Cuffy was not happy about having to wear this dress.
Oh, not at all. Cuffy is very much tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
In today's times, who knows? She might
Right.
have had a change.
Right.
So
And so Cuffy and Nat end up in, I forget the name of the town, but the all white
Maze,
town.
Maysville.
Bill? Okay. And they walk into the bank. And Cuffy says she wants to make a withdrawal.
Yep,
And the teller immediately starts laughing in her face.
laughing, cracking up,
I mean, cracking up.
rude.
And
Yeah.
she says something like, you have to have an account
Mm-hmm.
to do that.
Yep.
And Cuffy don't even want to try to exchange words. She starts reaching, but she got on these clothes that she not used to wearing.
Right.
And so she's fumbling, trying to get her gun out her skirts. And then when she does get it, they realize, oh, she means business.
Mm-hmm. She like,
And
what's
she
funny
start
now?
right, she start threatening to shoot people.
Yeah.
Nat knocks out a guy, and I'm thinking, okay, this bank is full of people.
Right.
And they just gonna let the two of y'all rob them like this?
I
Like
agree, especially when you think about the old West. Everybody got a gun. That's what I
everybody
think,
got a gun. Yep.
But I don't know. I don't know if it was, I don't know, but they were scared of them.
They was
And
and they weren't ran off with all the money.
right, and that says something to some of the people. He says, they say robbing a bank is hard. He said robbing a bank is easy. The hard part is not killing anybody. And so,
Right.
statements like that could make you stand down,
Right.
but I know it's only two of them, like you say. Somebody got a gun.
Somebody got a gun.
Yeah.
And even when they run off, riding on their horses, an alarm does go off, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody catches them.
Yeah.
Cause
Miraculously, they get away.
right, the next thing we see is them looking at the money like, is this all we need?
Mm,
They like, this don't look like much.
yeah, that's true.
And they trying to figure out a plan.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta save Mary.
Yeah, because they don't think they're gonna let her go, even if they give them the money.
Right. And so while they're trying to come up with a plan, Wiley rides up
Mm-hmm.
with a wagon full of ammo.
Yep. He said he got it from one of Rufus's stashes.
Hmm. And so this next part I thought was funny because
Mm.
they singing this song. And I said, y'all got a theme song? I said, I thought that was, I didn't think that was Western type stuff, but maybe I don't know.
Oh, it is.
They do? They always got
Because
a theme
they ain't
song?
got nothing to do.
Oh,
They
okay.
ain't got no radio. They ain't got no, you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
they just sing. Yeah, that's the
yeah.
thing. And I
Yeah, that's
said,
crazy too because you would think they wouldn't want nobody to know where they are. And so they just
oh,
out with song randomly.
that's funny. They probably thinking ain't nobody around to hear them, but I don't know.
Right.
But did you hear Nat with the vibrato? That was funny to me too. I was like, okay, Nat coming in at the end with the vibrato.
Right. So they must have come up with a plan because we see Bass Reeves ride into town, into Redwood
Mm-hmm.
in his wagon or what are they called? Carriage, chariot. I don't know.
Wagon is good too.
Oh, okay. And Cherokee Bill meets him, and they just start walking down the street.
Mm-mm.
What?
That other guy, the guy that was beaten,
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going.
oh, okay. Well, he's the one who comes up first.
Mm-hmm.
And Bass says, I will tell you to go get your superior. It'd be just like asking you to go get your daddy. Could be anybody, right?
Right.
Girl, Bass got jokes.
And so then Cherokee Bill walks up, and he and Bass Reeves go for a stroll.
Yeah.
And Bass says, "We get to name the terms since we have the money."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Okay." But while they're walking, his wagon blows up,
Yeah.
and an arm lands on the ground.
Mm. I think that was the arm of the dude beating up Nat. So he
Yep.
got blown to smithereens.
And I wondered how it happened. Like, did they have the wagon rigged,
Oh yeah,
and
I think
for
what?
if he tried to rob it,
Well, I'm not
or
sure,
you know what I mean, or did
but
they just
I
have it set on a timer or whatever?
I think it was rigged because I'm
Hmm.
trying to think. Did Bass give a signal for them to do something? So I
Yeah.
can't remember for sure, but I know it was on purpose.
Right. So I thought old dude tried to rob the wagon, and they
I
had it
don't
set
think so,
low.
because Bass wasn't acting shocked or surprised. You know what I mean? Only
Right.
Cherokee was. He was like, "What's going on?" You know.
Yep.
And oh, right, because after the explosion, the townspeople started running off. And so
Hmm.
Bass says, now it's just us and y'all. So you know it was on
Hmm.
purpose because they're trying to clear the town.
Oh,
They're trying
that's
to get
true.
rid of the innocents. Okay, so, that's a sign of a true lawman trying to protect the innocents. And so next we see Nat come riding in with Cuffy, and they
Hmm.
have a wagon, and they bring Mary out.
We do see Nat and Rufus giving each other a stare down
Okay,
as Nat rides into town.
okay,
Rufus is standing in the second story window, I think,
uh-huh,
of either the bank or some building in town. And so he and Nat are kind of like sizing each other up.
yeah.
And Nat says, release Mary, please. No, he didn't say please.
Okay, that's what I feel like I was missing. Yeah, because he says, "Here, take this horse, give it to her so she can ride off."
Mm-hmm.
And Nat is walking, and Cherokee's behind him, and we see
Yep.
Cherokee done pull out his gun, ready to shoot him in the back.
Right, because Nat stopped and said something like, in the back?
Yeah, how he
And
knew
then we
that,
see
I don't know.
Cherokee. Right, I don't know how he knew either,
Yeah,
but we see, then they show Cherokee behind him with his gun
Jim.
aimed.
Oh yeah, yeah, right, right, yeah. Jim
And
behind
right.
Cherokee. That's what I was thought you was trying to say.
Oh no, we see Cherokee behind Nat
Yeah.
with his gun pointed at him,
Hmm.
and then we see Jim behind Cherokee Bill with his gun
Yeah.
pointed at him,
Exactly.
and Rufus is just still watching
Right.
from
He
the
a
window.
chump for this, you know.
He
You know,
is. Oh yeah.
Nat is with his gang. He in the
Yep.
fight. Rufus
Yep.
is watching from the safety of the building.
Yep. And so Cherokee Bill and Jim finally have their showdown.
Cherokee says, "You know, you don't have to do this. You can leave."
Yep. And Jim like, he got a point to prove.
Right.
And so they gonna basically count down from 5, and we gonna find out who the quickest draw is.
Hmm. And that was what Cherokee was like. Yeah, let's count down to 5. So
Yep.
Jim starts counting.
Yep. And when he get to 3,
3.
a bullet through the head or the neck,
Through the
something.
cheek, right in the face. Yep.
Yep.
Like, and what's crazy about this is remember the first time Jim tried to duel him, he said, "I heard that you shoot people in the back." Hmm.
Mm. Okay.
So, or don't wait for the count. I think he said both of those things. So it's
Huh.
crazy that he about to shoot Nat in the back, and then he
Yep.
didn't wait for the count there.
Yep.
So it's easy to have the fast reputation when you always cheating.
When you always cheating.
Yeah,
Yep. And so a huge shootout
yeah,
breaks out,
because they
of
hot.
course, because yeah, one of they boys,
Hmm. And you didn't do it fairly. I
and
think
it
if it
didn't do
was
it fairly.
fair, they wouldn't have been as upset.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And so Nat is like, blow up the money,
yeah.
just blow it up.
Hmm.
Um, and so Trudy is like, kill Mary.
Oh, yep.
And so the two guys that are holding Mary end up getting shot by Cuffy because they really about to kill Mary.
Hmm.
These folks about this life.
Oh, yeah.
And Cuffy saves the day.
Hmm.
And they all shooting. And Trudy run out of bullets. And
Yeah.
so what she do?
Right.
Run off.
Hmm. Right.
Mm, like a coward.
And so Mary goes after her.
Yep. Mary took off after Trudy and hunted her down.
Not bad. Hand to hand combat.
Right. Mary has her big old rifle in her hand, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have this long, you mean at the end of the fight? They have a long fight, okay?
Yeah, but I mean, Trudy threw her gun down
They
because
both
she was
ran out
out
of
of.
bullets, I thought.
Right, they both
Okay,
ran out of bullets. But Mary kept hers and used hers as a weapon.
right,
But Trudy threw hers down to the ground because she
okay,
had a little old gun.
right.
I guess she ain't pistol whipping folks like Rufus. And so they start fighting. I mean, they duking it out
Yes.
like some dudes.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
They
Knock
throwing
down,
each other
drag out.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, they can fight.
Hmm. So yeah, they going at it for a good while. They both taking some blows, bottles to the head. They're picking up rakes, all kind of stuff. Okay, but in the end,
In the end,
Mary gets her gun or some gun, a rifle, and hits Trudy in the face with the butt of it, and all
mm-hmm.
this blood splatter.
Mm.
And that's all we see of them.
Yep.
So then we go back out to Nat and Bass Reeves, and they out in the shootout, and Nat gets shot. And it's not,
Mm-hmm.
too bad, but Bass drags him off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a Red Hood or Crimson Hood shows up and tries to shoot him, but
Mm-hmm.
he gets shot too. So, yeah, Bass pulls him out the way so he's not just laying out in the open.
Right.
And so while all this is going on, Wiley goes to confront Rufus.
Yep.
And
He walks into the bank with some dynamite.
mhm.
Dynamite.
He blows a couple dudes up,
Mm-hmm.
and then Rufus comes out, and he,
Finally.
and he says, "I always knew it was you who turned me in."
Mm.
And Wiley dropped his weapon.
I thought this was wild.
I agree. Because Wiley come in there ready to go with a plan in mind. He got
Yep.
explosives, he got guns, he got
Yep.
all the things.
Yep.
And he just decided to stand there and have a conversation with Rufus.
Right. And Rufus ain't having it.
No. Rufus is Rufus says goodbye, old friend. And takes that gun and shoots him. And he blows up because he got all the explosives on him. I was like,
Right.
why didn't you just kill him? You had the
Right.
chance.
He had the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was crazy. I said, Wiley, you didn't think this through enough.
No.
Because you know Rufus is ready to kill you. He didn't kill you in that street, but he was about to.
Yes.
And so I don't know. It was like he just wanted to die. I don't know.
I don't know either. But if you ain't got what it takes, stay at home. You ain't have to come here. She did
Yep.
that whole thing about nobody takes stuff from me and blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yep.
You took your stuff and your life. Okay.
Right. Yep. And so outside we see a bunch of Crimson Hoods show up. It's
Yeah.
like a whole new initiates or whatever. we we got the freshman crew
That's
riding
funny.
up. And they just shooting, shooting, shooting.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't hitting nothing.
Nothing.
And
Because
you
Nat's crew take them all out.
right, because they use up all their ammo. So Nat and Bass like, all right, boom,
Yeah.
took all of them out.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Bill and Cuffy, Bill Pickett that is,
Yeah.
and Cuffy meet up inside one of the buildings in
Yeah.
this town. And we saw Bill get shot at one point,
Right.
but we could tell, he was fine.
Yeah.
And so she's, like checking on him. She's
Mm-hmm.
concerned. And he's like, I'm all right. And he pulls this coin out of his pocket
Yeah.
that the bullet hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so this coin, he's like, man,
You feeling
you
lucky,
know, right.
like.
He's showing her the coin like, that's what's up. This
Mm-hmm.
thing just saved my life.
Yeah. And next
And
thing you
here
know.
and the next thing we know, we hear a gunshot, I mean,
Mm-hmm. And
and Bill, goes still.
yeah, you see his face
Yep. And
behind.
behind
Mm-hmm.
him
Yes, sir.
is Cherokee Bill.
Ooh.
Shot him in the back.
Just like Jim talked about.
Just like Jim talked
He
about.
is filthy.
He is.
Not saying you have to be an honest criminal, because,
Right. He's not a
oxymoron,
criminal,
really.
though.
Right. But, yeah, have some honor.
Have some honor. Yep.
Mm.
And so our Bill, because we net
Yeah.
love gang
That
on this side. Gang gang. And so our Bill hasn't died yet. He's still standing there. And it's rough watching this.
it is.
Right?
And it's
And
even worse that Cherokee doesn't care. He's like talking to him like,
does not care.
yeah.
Cherokee Bill tells him being scared will give you bad karma in the afterlife.
Mm.
And then shoots him again.
Mm.
Mm. And Cuffy is standing there watching it all go down.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm thinking, Cuffy.
You like shoot him?
Yeah.
Okay. She could have.
She could have.
You're right.
Yep. And so
But she's honorable.
That's true. She confronts him and she's like, you shot him in the back though?
Mm-hmm. You're like, so, okay, you gonna do me like that? or you gonna cheat the count. So he
Mm-hmm.
put his gun up.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a little duel.
Yep. And Cuffy took him out.
She got him in that neck.
Yep. And she was like, but Jim was faster.
Yep.
And he probably knew that.
Oh yeah, because he probably not that fast.
Right. He
Because like I
probably knew
said, if
that.
he
That's why he
always
cheated.
shooting, yeah, I agree. So he walk outside and fall to the ground. Dead, dead,
Good.
dead. And
Uh,
Rufus saw it. You know, he saw him hit the ground. And I
yep.
think he like going through because his crew is
It's crew. Yep.
yeah, getting towed up.
Yep.
So now Nat goes to confront Rufus.
Mm-hmm.
And Rufus just sitting in there waiting, sitting
Right.
casually. And Nat's like, pick up your guns, you know, because he's honorable. He don't want to just shoot you empty
Right.
handed.
Yep.
And Rufus starts talking about his past. And
Yeah. Because Rufus is like, I bet you had a better upbringing than I did.
mm-hmm, and asks him, was your dad a good man?
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, he was. And he said, well, my dad used to beat my mom to a pulp.
Mm.
He said he was an outlaw, robbing
Mm-hmm.
banks, drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that last straw was, you know, his mom was trying to protect him from his
Yep.
father. And she cut him, he said. And dad took her out.
Took her out.
Yeah. They don't say how, but
Yeah.
he killed his mama.
Yep.
And
And
said,
you can go
go.
ahead.
And he said he was about 10 years old at the time.
Right. And you can tell Nat, is listening to the story and starting to feel sorry for him.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, man, that's how you ended up like this?
Right, you know, your own daddy. He
Right.
said your daddy was trash.
Mm. Mm.
And so Rufus goes on to say, you know, I spent a lot of time looking for him, and I
Mm-hmm. Years
finally,
and years.
mhm, and I finally found him.
Yep.
He said he had a whole new family, a pretty little wife, and a young son.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that he was a preacher, had turned his life around.
Yep. And that looking like, what are you talking about?
Right. But we all looking like,
What is he talking
where's he
about?
going with this?
Right.
What does he mean
Uh
by this?
huh. Nat is losing it.
Mm. Yep.
And Rufus says, our father. And Nat is like, my father, my mother.
Right.
Rufus is like, you a buck. You're a buck, just like me.
Yep. He says he changed his name from Buck to Love.
Mm.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's tough right there. And he goes on to tell him, you know, pretty much that you're just like your daddy, the daddy before, the one. He's like, I
Oh, right.
am. Yeah, I am. And you
Yep.
are too.
Because he says killing our father was retribution, but letting you live was the true revenge. Because that turned Nat into a criminal too.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm, mm, mm.
He also says, though, you know, well, he kind of said, well, you worse than me, though, because I couldn't kill my brother.
Right. That was deep.
That was deep.
But I will say he knew Nat was his brother probably for a while
Yeah,
before he probably watched his father for a while before he killed him.
yeah.
And then this whole time, which I assume is 20 something years later,
Mm,
year or so,
yeah,
roughly,
yeah.
he's known he's had a brother.
Right.
Nat just found out.
Right now.
Right. So it's not the same.
I had plans to kill you way
Mhm.
before I had any idea of what
Yep,
you're talking about.
exactly. And so Rufus tells Nat, go and take your revenge.
Yeah. I kept
Yep.
waiting for Rufus to get him, you know?
Yep. And he wouldn't.
I think that seeing his whole crew go down, his plans, everything. He like, I
Yep.
lost. He gave in like, okay, I lost. Because he
Mhm.
even had a gun in his hand. He shot his gun into the floor,
Yep.
trying to
So
make,
he was ready to go.
yeah. And so Nat finally gave in to his demands
So did.
and
Killed
killed
him
him.
dead.
Dead, dead, dead.
Right. After Rufus falls out dead on the floor, Nat goes through his pockets.
Sure did. But he had intention.
Yeah, that's true. And he finds the ring.
Yeah. Not like he was just trying to
And
rob him.
right. He finds the ring that Rufus picked up earlier
Yeah. His mama's right.
and takes it. Right.
Yeah.
Which is insane because why would Rufus
Wanted.
even take it? Yeah.
I think just so.
Is he a thief?
No, I think it's part of getting back at you or making you mad or whatever, showing you
Yeah.
that I'm in charge. I took your ring from you. Kind of,
Yeah.
that's what I kind of think.
Mm.
And so yeah, when Nat goes out, Mary out there waiting for him.
Yep. And she says, "Is the devil dead?"
Hmm.
And he says, "I don't know."
Mm, that was deep too, because now
That
she
was
like,
deep. Am
doggone.
I the devil?
Yep. They like, dang.
Right.
So next they at the burial site, of the gang members,
Yep.
and Nat has a marker there too. So
Right.
they faked his death.
Right. We see 3 graves
Yeah,
for Bill, Jim, and then Nat.
yeah,
But we all Nat right there
right. Hmm.
looking at his own grave.
Yeah, because Mary even asked, she's like, "Y'all think this gonna work?" And Bass Reeves is like, "Look, I'm the marshal. If I say he dead, he dead."
Right. Yep.
So, and then Cuffy going off with Bass Reeves. She want to be a marshal too.
Yep.
So that's the same. She said her goodbye to Mary. She give her a good
Hmm.
kiss on the cheek, I think. And I
I
was
don't
like,
think that was on the cheek, was it?
ah, Mary's head was a little turned, so it's possible, but we couldn't see the face.
And the way Nat looked
Yep.
afterwards,
Yeah.
I ain't think that was no cheek.
I don't know. You could be right. They didn't show
Yeah.
us, but it
Yeah.
made me think that's why she rides so hard for Mary. She
Oh.
I think she got a
There
thing
you
for her.
Yep. She might.
Yeah. So, but they all parting ways. I'm sure they'll get together again at some point. But yeah, Cuffy
Yeah.
going off to be a lawman, a law woman,
Right.
and
Yep.
Mary and that ride off.
Ride off together. So
Hmm.
seems like what she said before.
I think now she knows everybody is dead now, so maybe he can be still. You know?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And so while they're all riding off,
Hmm.
they go their separate ways. In the distance, we see somebody watching them
Hmm.
with a hat in their hand.
Hmm.
And I just can't help but wonder who that is.
I think it's Trudy.
I agree. Because we did not see Trudy die.
Mm-mm. Cause right,
We
that blow could have killed her, that final blow,
could have.
but they didn't
Yeah,
show it. They didn't show her
exactly.
body or anything like everybody else's.
Exactly. And we've watched enough TV to know
Yep,
that when there's nobody,
there you go. They
they
might
might
not be
still
dead.
be alive. Right?
Uh-huh.
Yep. So
So
that's exactly what I was thinking too. And I said, I wonder if there's going to be another
yeah,
movie.
they totally could. I mean, well, a lot of
Hmm.
them dead though. That's the only
Yeah, but they
thing.
could be, it could be different gangs or a
Mm,
different tale, not tale, but a different storyline of Trudy trying to get her revenge on them, or,
yeah, that's true.
you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be Rufus Buck. And
That's true.
yeah. So that's the end of the story, y'all.
Good stuff.
Hmm.
Mm, thinking now. What
What you
about
thinking?
these ratings? The ratings.
What
Says,
about these ratings?
man, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay,
This movie was excellent.
that's excellent.
Um,
That's what I,
I what'd you say?
that's what I was sitting here thinking. Like after we went through it all, I'm like,
Yeah,
this movie is really good.
this movie is excellent. From the story to the acting. Um, I, I mean, I can't really find any fault with it. Um, you know, as with a lot of movies, there were some things that didn't quite make sense,
Hmm.
like Wiley. Why, like
Yeah.
him coming back with
Hmm.
no real plan.
Yeah,
But I mean, people are just dumb sometimes.
for sure, for sure.
So
And you going up against a real deal criminal?
right, and he probably not as
Oh no, not at all.
as dirty or whatever,
Yeah,
and so he ain't have it in him. That's what we
right.
found that out
Yeah.
is he didn't have it in him, and so I think this is a 5-star movie
Mm.
or a 5 bucket of popcorn movie.
Oh, right, right. We don't do stars here.
That's
Yes,
right.
buckets. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, I think this is a 5 for me.
Yeah.
Just excellent movie.
Yeah.
It's something you don't see often.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't have anything negative to say, except it was a little long. But that's nitpicking. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Oh yeah.
It was still a great story
Yeah.
and still well acted, and the music was nice. Like even the soundtrack, um, was hitting,
Yeah.
which Sean Carter, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I have nothing truly negative to say about this one, so I'm just gonna have to give it 5 buckets. Valerie,
Right.
what about you?
When I got to the end, that's why I was sitting here thinking, like, I don't have any negative comments. I'm sitting here like, because I can find some
Mm-hmm.
stuff in the movie.
Right. Yep.
I really don't feel like I have anything negative to
Mm-hmm.
say. Even the length for me is not a problem because the movie's so good.
Yep.
So, you know,
Yep.
I am in agreement with you. And this doesn't happen often that I have a 5 star.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
I agree.
it's
Same here.
always like, is this movie a 5 star? Look, I'm saying stars. I just said we don't do stars here. 5 buckets of popcorn? And the
Right.
answer is yes.
Yep.
The cast is phenomenal.
Yep.
I mean, everybody is awesome.
Yep.
And even the guy who we didn't mention his name or who, he plays Bobby Brown in the New Edition story, and he plays on what's that? Power. He plays on the new Power with Mary J. Blige.
I
He's
don't know who you're talking about.
the guy that was with Damon Wayans, whom Jim killed.
Oh, okay. I don't even remember what he looked like.
Oh, see, I know him because I
Right.
love him in Power.
Yep.
But I mean, everybody's great. The sets are great. Like you said, the soundtrack, the act, everything is great.
Yep.
I mean, I really don't even have anything negative to say because I'm shocked.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
I'm really shocked.
Yep.
Oh,
I'm right there with you. So
wow, y'all
if
did
y'all
that.
have not seen this,
Yes,
please
I have to see this.
add this to your list. It's on Netflix. Everybody got Netflix, so you ain't
Okay,
got an excuse.
who don't have Netflix? I
Right.
say that, but I know somebody who don't have Netflix. Oh, you should have Netflix. If you don't have nothing else, you should have Netflix. Okay,
Right.
that's
Mhm.
just yeah.
Netflix will get you right.
It'll get you right. Even if you don't have nothing else, they got so much stuff on there. They've been doing it forever.
Right. Yep.
So,
Yep. So go
wow.
watch The Harder They Fall
Yes.
and then hop on your socials, TikTok or Instagram,
Hmm.
and tell us what you thought.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, leave us some comments.
That's right, at Sisters at the Cinema on both TikTok and Instagram.
There you go. We want to hear from you. And you can also leave comments on Spotify.
Oh, that's right.
Hmm. As always, you guys, thanks for joining us. And, this is the first one of our Black History series for Black History Month. And so we'll
Mm-hmm.
be bringing you some more. So come back and join us for those. But yeah, you guys, like, follow, subscribe, and happy Black History Month.
Happy Black History Month.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.